This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's corporate cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now, get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. ramp.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Super Talk 1270.
Welcome to the School for Startups Minute with Jim Beach.
This week I want to talk about love languages and how understanding them can have a huge impact on your relationship with your family, your kids, your spouse, and with your employees or your boss. This information comes from a book by Gary Chapman, and it describes that every person gives and receives love in one or two of the 5 ways. One of these ways will appeal to you the most, and when someone does that for you, that's how you feel the most loved. Today, I'll talk about words of affirmation in just a second.
This is Dr. Michael Garko for Strauss Naturals. The heart is only a bit larger than a fist. Each day, it pumps about 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. With this extraordinary workload, I encourage you to take Strauss Heart Drops to help support a healthy cardiovascular system. The Heart Drops are backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. No questions asked. Visit StraussNaturals.com to learn more and order the Heart Drops today.
Words of affirmation are giving someone a compliment, makes them feel great, especially for a kid to hear their mom or dad say, "You're smart, you're really funny," things like that. They'll be on cloud 9. And also, your wife wants to hear she's beautiful.
Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken, and joining for the program, Patience here coming up in just a few minutes. But also, don't forget tonight, Make-A-Wish, great games at You Mary. Great opportunity to give back. Also, a little bit later in the program, we're talking with Jordan from the Tech Ranch, social media update. And then, of course, Marlo, who's running a little late this morning. We'll get to him as well on a Tech Tuesday. This is Talk of the Town.
3. Talk of the
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Bakken, weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to the Tech Ranch, and we're going to talk a little cybersecurity with Chris right now because there's some new products out there, Chris, that they're phone information sharing stuff, and Apple's kind of come out with some new product lines, but a lot of alarm being put up. Is information secure with this? Because now everybody's familiar with, touch your phone and you can pass on information, or, scan a QR code for a business card, or, what's the proximity of that? Because, from a security standpoint, when some of this first came out, and I had some concerns about, okay, you're walking down the street and somebody bumps into you, are they able to scan your phone or get information unless you've got that extra security protocol? Lay it out for us.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's nothing new. I mean, it's been around at least, I would say, 10 years. I mean, everyone's familiar with the kiosks when you're out shopping. There's the tap to pay. You could basically hold your phone over it, and then you could pay using your phone. But most of our credit cards nowadays have these near-field communications chips in them. A little Wi-Fi looking design on your top of your credit card. You just tap to pay. No more inserting the chip. And that actually is it's a lot more secure for your credit card information than the old swipe, because those swipes you could install a skimmer on them.
And especially if gas stations were notorious for this, because somebody would attach a device and it's pretty simple to skim. You just stick that up underneath.
Yeah. Every time you swiped your card, you were at risk of somebody stealing your card number.
Right. I didn't worry about at point of sale places as much, because you can see all that. But, it's cold, it's winter, you're at the gas station, you stick your card in there. Okay. Part of the problem has been with the near field side of it, though, is how near of a field, 'cause especially in the winter, you go tap your card and you're like, it's not taking.
Right.
I got to rub it around for a while, maybe warm up the screen. So some of the technology, while it's been there, hasn't been fully perfected.
Right. And Apple has had on their phones this feature called AirDrop for a while, where if you allow it, you can see other folks around you, and you could wirelessly send them photos or contact information or other information. And by and large, it's a opt-in kind of situation. You send it to somebody and they have to say, yes, I would like to receive this. But now with near-field communication, you can swap stuff just by bringing the phones close together. And one of the big things lately is after iOS 17 came out and people are starting to install it, police departments around the country started putting on Facebook warning this new feature called Name Drop is enabled by default on your phone, and you need to protect your kids' phone information, so everyone needs to go and follow these steps to turn it off. And my reaction was, and the reaction of some of the more tech blogs was like, yeah, but the phones have to be within a couple centimeters of each other, and they have to be one on top of each other, and both people have to say yes. And if the phone's locked, they can't get anything from it. You have to unlock the phone. So at the same time, it's like somebody's not going to walk down the street, bump into you, and suddenly have all your phone information. You actually have to give it to them. So really the purpose of this is trade shows, home shows, any place where
digital version of a business card.
Yeah, basically, because who has business cards anymore? You can scan a QR code, but now the thing is
you can get a lot more information on a QR code.
Right. And you have these devices where you get credit card sized business cards that are basically reusable and has all your information stored on it. You just tap it and you can swap it with some other folks.
Okay, but I go to a lot of trade shows, and one of the things I like to do is drop my business card into that Yeti cooler or whatever the drawing is. It's like, okay,
well,
that doesn't work now.
Yeah. Well, how are you going to do?
How am I going to win the cooler?
Put your business card in here, win a free lunch, that kind of thing. Yeah. I guess I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, a little paradigm shift. We have to figure out how that is going to move forward.
Right. So I think people need to be aware that these, wireless ways of sharing information are out there, but there's a reason why it's called near field communication. I just got back earlier this month from Japan. We were over there for International Doge Day, and Japan is very much a business card culture, sharing the physical cards. But as I was going through the airports, I kept seeing...
Are they smaller cards over in Japan?
Oh, about the same size.
Standard business
size.
Because they shrink a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I was seeing all these passport holders. It's like RFD blocking passport holder. And because all the newest American passports for security purposes have an RFID chip, a radio frequency chip in them. So you can actually scan your passport at entry points without having to look and say, okay, is that you? Is that you? It verifies your information, tap, basically.
Yeah, but what if you have somebody else's passport and you just scan it?
Right. So that's why.
Okay, so because I've heard of this, and when I started looking into having the chip in the passport, because I'm currently waiting on my new passport to arrive as well, and I found out what the answer was: facial recognition software in conjunction with scanning your passport.
Right. Yeah. When I went through customs and immigration at Japan, even to get on the plane, they just scanned my face. I didn't have to show a boarding pass or nothing. They scanned my face. I was on the plane.
No terrorist watch lists or anything?
Nope.
You were all clean?
I was all clean.
Okay.
And
had to check.
When I got there, all I had to do was take my glass. Went to customs, scanned my passport because I had done all of my customs declarations online already with a QR code, scanned my passport, did all my declarations right there before I even got my bags, went through immigration, took my glasses off. They scanned my face, took images of my 2 thumbprints, and off I went. It was like, okay, this is very simple. It's better than it was the last time I came over here, which was 30 years ago. And it's like, do you have anything to declare? Okay, what's your purpose of your visit? And you do it all in advance now.
It's actually coming back. You got to worry about. It's like, why do you have so much sake?
Yeah. And I came back to Minneapolis. That guy at customs was like, hey, what was your purpose of business or pleasure? So I was over there for business. It's like, well, who do you work for? And I said, National Day Calendar. And he's like, all right, I assume you're not bringing home any product supplies for sale. I was like, no. No calendars in my back pocket. Got some candy.
That's a great question. I just thought, Japanese candy. What's that like?
Oh, it's a lot sweeter.
Is it?
I bought some strawberry flavored popcorn from Harlow, from a street vendor at one of the famous street stall places, shopping street. And he loves popcorn. So I bring this over to him, and he just tried it this morning, and he said it's like he's never had an experience where he didn't like the popcorn. And so I tried it too, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be an acquired taste, because over there, one of the things they sell is candied strawberries. They take fresh strawberries, dip them in a strawberry flavored hard candy shell, and that's what's coated the popcorn. So if you're not familiar with that flavor or sugar and that glaze, then it's something you're not going to get used to, but I'm used to it. So
okay,
I get the popcorn now.
I'll have to try some. So going back to the chips and the near field chips, because I'm trying to figure out where this is going to wind up being, because there's a lot of products out there now that are starting to pop up, whether it's not the phone or how do you carry a chip with information. There's bracelets out there now that here's all my information right here. Eventually, if you want to be the conspiracy theorists, chips, implant a chip, just like you do with your dog or your pet with a tracking chip. But that chip could have all your information on it. Is that where some of this is going eventually, or what are your thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard, and it could be apocryphal or just anecdotal, that some richer families down in Mexico protect their families from the cartels by implanting microchips in their families so they can easily track their kids if their kids are kidnapped by the cartels or something like that. I don't know if that's sci-fi or Hollywood filling my brain with information or if it's real. The old Sylvester Stallone movie, Demolition Man, that came out in the early 90s, everybody there's got a chip in their hand.
Oh, yeah.
And
or even Idiocracy, the QR code that was tattooed on everybody's wrist.
Right. So I think what it comes down to is just common sense. Much like if you're going to an unsecured public Wi-Fi, don't do your stock day trading using the public Wi-Fi.
Leave the banking alone.
Yeah.
Don't.
And when you're at home, make sure you have a password on your Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff. Put a password on your computer and just be aware of your surroundings, I would say.
Digitally. I tell that to my wife all the time, physically, that you need to be aware of your surroundings more. And we don't always think about the digital side of that. Digitally, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be If you're looking up a recipe for dinner, but you need to be aware of the digital surroundings and what's there for potential pop-ups or what looks out of the ordinary, because it could be the simplest thing that you notice that, okay, this isn't what I normally see when I pull up this Good Housekeeping website for my recipe. But so the digital side of being aware of your surroundings is very important.
No, I think you're absolutely right. The phishers that would try to spoof us and get us to log into our Amazon account because something's been wrong. Please log in here and we'll fix it for you. Oh, I need your credit card information in order to fix this. And then they steal your information. We've gotten wise to a lot of that. So they're finding new and unique ways of trying to pull that information or to get you to give up information. Because when it comes to cybersecurity, the weakest link is ourselves. Mm-hmm. We are too trusting a lot of times. And we just need to be more aware and more skeptical of what's around us, but not so overboard that a simple change in an operating system is suddenly worth 100 different police departments lasting out warnings and freaking out parents.
Oh, we're all familiar with phone scams and that side of it, but the digital side of scams, we're familiar with the emails, but just being aware of your digital surroundings, also vitally important. You're tuned to the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Vine, along with Marlo Anderson. We'll be in here shortly. We're talking to Chris with the Tech Ranch about cybersecurity. We'll talk more about that when we come back from break. One of the things I wanted to talk about, though, a big thank you going out for our listeners who made donations to Operation Christmas. Thanks to you, over 600 children in Bismarck and Mandan and Lincoln will now have at least one present to open under the Christmas tree on Christmas morning. So a big thank you to our partners, Shields and the Salvation Army, for making Operation Christmas a big success. And don't forget, if you have some time or your group or organization has some time to donate, great place to spend a little time, great team building exercise. Of course, ringing the bell for the Red Kettle campaign for the Salvation Army. They're running a little behind on volunteers, so contact the Salvation Army if you or your group or family would like to get together and do that as well this holiday season. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio. Recorded. ABC World and National News at the top of every hour on Super Talk 1270.
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy. Just get in line. It moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center. We're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty, Peak Automotive and Service, and Silver Ranch. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
One of the other cool things that's out there from a communication standpoint, because there's a lot of technology on the communication of things, translation. And we're kind of familiar, and it's sort of work if you've ever played with it on your phone. There's usually some translation programming into your phone. It's through the talk to text. So depending on how robust your talk to text program is or app on your phone, you can loosely navigate if you're out of the country. But now there's some new products out there that just pop the earbud in. You're good.
Yeah. Again, this kind of goes back to when I was in Japan. I speak the language fairly reasonably well that I can navigate. I'm by no means fluent, but I can have a conversation. But at the hotel we were checking in, they had these little pocket translator devices there, so you could communicate with the concierge or the clerk. A lot of the folks that were there for this International Doge Day, they had like 100 people at this proclamation event, and
multiple nationalities.
Yep, they had the mayor was up there, and he was giving his speech, and then we had an interpreter who gave his speech in English after the fact. But apparently, I was visiting with the interpreter. He changed his speech. So what he delivered was not what she had in front of her and already translated. Same thing. I read the proclamation, and I had made some changes on the fly on the airplane. So what I'm reading is not what she had translated. So having this instantaneous ability to translate on the fly would be really, really great. You can do it with Google Translate on your phone reasonably well. You talk into it, and then it'll read back whatever it is in the end.
The most Japanese I know is Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. So
yes.
That's the extent of my Japanese language skills.
Okay.
Thank you, Sticks. All right.
Yeah, so there's a company called Waverly Labs. Back in 2016 on Kickstarter, they came out with these earbuds that would do that. Basically, it communicated with your cell phone and use speech to text. It would convert what it heard into text, translate it, convert it back into another language, and then you would share the earbud with somebody else, and they could hear their own language. They sold about 50,000 of those maybe, and now they're getting into the professional market. So they have these new over-the-ear ones that are more hygienic. After COVID, everyone's thinking, "Oh, I'm not going to stick your phone in my ear," you know. And it's gotten better, but it's nowhere near Star Trek Universal Translator type. Reading some of the reviews, everyone's like, well, I have to wait, or I can't speak at normal speed. I have to slow down. It's like, well, that's not necessarily an issue with the translation. That's just speech to text generally. Oh, I can't listen to a foreign language film with this. It's like, that's because they're designed for in-person interaction. Digital audio is a lot different acoustically than in-person audio. And so AI is helping with a lot of this. There's a competing company out of China called Time Kettle that has their new versions offers what they call simultaneous, where you each have an earbud and you're talking, and then it's constantly translating as you go. And for me, that just sounds confusing.
A little bit.
I mean, at the United Nations, that's what you have.
Well, and that's what I was going to bring up is you took a look at the international conferences or the United Nations and these different summits that there's an international flavor to it. And yeah, the back room that is full of multilinguistic translators is packed.
And it takes years and years to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Because you're listening and you're speaking at the same time. You have to learn how to disconnect your brain somehow.
Yeah.
And so for us to expect humans to pick that up when they're being tourists is really kind of
a little much to ask.
Yeah, too much to ask.
But professionally, though, even on the professional level with the professional translators that are able to do that at that level, that's hard. There's only a handful of those people.
Right. And you look at something like the European Union has 23 official languages, and everything has to be done in each of the official languages at the same time. I mean, they have one constitution that's the official version in all 23 languages. So how can one document and all the translations be the original?
Right.
Yeah.
Plus there's nuances in language.
Right.
So every language has, if it means something in this, the equivalent word could mean something entirely different in a different language.
So I think that these earbuds, they're getting there. But again, it's short sentences. If you need something that's more in depth, it's not going to get the nuance. I think the ultimate goal is to have something speak in your own voice and kind of get those intonations and the emotion and the nuance. That's another 5-7 years out, probably.
But as of right now, I just have to talk really slowly.
Right, absolutely.
You mentioned the AI side of that, and I think because where we were 2 months ago versus today is entirely different. But 2 months ago to today to 2 months from now, when it comes to the language side of stuff, that was one of the things that with ChatGPT that was being missed out on was there's nuance to language. And we're going to just take the English language because we're fluent in that. But inflection, the facial side of thing. I mean, there's so many little cues that we pick up when we communicate with someone directly. That was my big complaint when everybody started, stop talking to everybody, just text them. But you're sitting next to them. But where you're texting, you lose so many nuances in communication. So you lose the intent of what a word or a phrase says. AI's made some incredible strides very quickly into picking up those cues or learning how to use the inflection there, the unverbal cues and the different facets of communicating with language versus sending up smoke signals.
Right. I think that's the ultimate goal with AI. Even if you're saying, please write me a poem or a term paper or something or whatever you want it to write, the same thing applies to kind of the neural learning that's going behind the scenes. It's only as good as what you feed it. When Google Translate first came out, they were doing a one-to-one kind of translation. They would say, okay, well, here's a document in English and here's the same document in Chinese. We're going to compare the two, and then that's how we're going to translate. So it was basically pre-written texts and what they call parallel texts. But now they're focusing more on the neural side of things where it's smart. It's thinking on the fly to try and get the right nuance. I think that's the direction you need to go. I remember back in the early 90s, I went to a kabuki play in Japan and didn't understand what was going on, but I was able to rent a device that didn't give me a one-to-one translation of what was going on stage.
More of a narrative.
It gave me a narrative, and it explained what was going on stage to me.
It's like me with opera.
That's where we need to go. Don't focus on one-to-one translation. Give me the gist of what's happening so I can actually have a conversation with somebody.
I say this when the concerns about the educational side with ChatGPT first popped up. It's like, well, kids are not going to write papers and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but if somebody's too lazy to write the paper in the first place, they're definitely going to be too lazy to go back and edit. And it's pretty obvious that you didn't write that. So that's one of the nuances with language.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
When it comes to technology, one of the cool things that's out there is CES, Consumer Electronics Show. Marlo has an opportunity to go there every year, and one of the things that he finds are all these different products that maybe you haven't heard about in the past because they're brand new. They're cutting edge technology. They're out there trying to find funding projects. One of the ones that Marlo found a couple of years back actually is on the market now, and we're going to get to that here. But providing 4 products unveiled at CES 2019, Marlo interviewed Aviine, which is a device that will aerate wine and get it ready to drink faster. GoSun has a solar-powered grill. Artesian, and this is the one I'm talking about because recently we've heard ads out there. How do you make the perfect cocktail? Well, Artesian has taken the technology behind the Keurig to make the perfect cocktail. So when I heard this, because I was familiar with the interview that Marlo had done, when I heard this on national radio ads, I was like,
wait a minute, I know that product. And they perfected it. It's how you make the perfect cocktail. So we'll find out about the backstory to Bartesian in a few minutes as well. But Brew Tea is the other one. They've found a way to make tea time a whole lot easier. So sit back and enjoy some of the interviews and find out where some of these products came from with Marlo at CES 2019.
I know everybody that's watching this is a connoisseur of wine, right? You know how long you should open the wine to let it breathe before you serve it, maybe the proper temperature. You know all that stuff, right? Well, if you don't, this is your new best friend. I'm telling you right now. So, Matthew, tell me a little bit about your company.
Aven is a company that wants to provide products and services for wine lovers. But they are amateurs or professional.
Okay.
And the first product we made is the Smart Wine Aerator. It's the product that aerates the wine instantly, depending on the wine. We got an app, so we're going to scan the label with the application that will recognize the wine and calibrate the product directly.
Okay.
Then you just have to pour the wine, and as it goes through the product, the wine is perfectly aerated, as if you had opened your bottle 5 hours before.
So you're always going to make me look good, because I'm going to take a picture of the wine bottle, and it's going to tell me how long. You're going to set that, and you're going to pour the wine, and it's going to be aerated for exactly how it is. That's an amazing thing.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
And I will say, and it's only because I have tested this, that it's true. I mean, it's amazing how different the wine is. If you were to pour it right out of the bottle when you open it, and then you with your app and your device, and it says that you have to aerate it for 5 hours or what have you, that immediately you can pour it through there, and the bouquet, the taste of the wine, everything is different and much more flavorful. I was actually blown away. I have to tell you, I'm still just raving about your product a couple of days later. So it's an amazing, amazing accomplishment.
Thank you very much. And the funny thing that we do also when we had that tasting a couple of days ago is that we tried without aeration. We tried with 5 hours of aeration, which was recommended by the application. But we also tried with 24 hours of aeration, which showed that it killed the wine.
Right.
It didn't taste anything. It was very, very strange. So it shows that the right amount of aeration reveals the best of the wine. And if you do it too much, you can kill a wine. If you don't do it enough, the wine is not as good as it could be.
Right. So now I'm assuming the product is available?
Yes. Okay. We are having the first batch at the end of the month, and we are delivering this batch from 3,000 products all around the world from January to April. So as they are all sold, we are still in demand. So you can pre-buy the product, and you'll have it in June. Okay. And as it's on pre-sales, you have a big discount.
Very nice.
Because the product price is $250 on retail price. Okay. And as it's on pre-sales, it's $175.
Okay. Very nice. And where can we find out more information about your product?
You go on the website, www.aven.paris, Aven, AVEINE.Paris. You know how to spell that.
Right. And I'm telling you right now, Matthew's my new best friend. So this is your Guru of Geek at CES 2019. Years ago, had the opportunity to visit with GoSun. Love this product. In fact, they were my CES pick of the year a couple of years ago, which was very exciting. And it's basically, I shouldn't say basically, it is a solar grill. And so I have Patrick back, and we're going to talk about how how your product has evolved over the last couple of years, because it sounds like it has.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we're kind of a breakthrough fuel-free cooking device. And, basically we're trying to figure out how to thrive without using volatile, faraway energy sources. We cook inside this amazing vacuum-insulated chamber, so we can achieve amazing hot temperature, cook a meal in 20 minutes with nothing but sunlight. Our product's portable and durable, real easy to use. And we launched a few years back. We have like 30,000 happy customers, but we're constantly trying to break into a bigger customer base, more mainstream. So we recently launched a hybrid version. The hybrid basically means that you're not only cooking with sunshine when it's available during the day, you can also cook with electricity at night or when it's raining.
Okay.
That's a 12-volt electric. So it's like electric that you can find anywhere in a car, RV, boat. We're using 150 watts of electricity, so that's like 1/10 the power of a toaster oven. So now what's unique about that, in fact, I brought my power bank, because this right here becomes the fuel canister of the future. This little 2-pound pack can cook a meal for 5 people in less than an hour using this lithium-ion stored power.
Wow.
And then we can charge this in a couple of hours with a 50-watt solar panel. So you can, use solar day or night.
So I'm guessing that besides just powering the GoSun, right, you would be able to power other things as well with this?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Marlo. We're actually working towards an entire outdoor kitchen that's fuel-free. And the idea is now you can carry the cooking apparatus, sanitation, power generation, supply, as well as refrigeration.
Okay.
So we're unveiling today at CES 2019 a portable refrigerator. Runs on a brushless DC compressor. It's got an insulated air gap canopy. Thing is unbelievably efficient. You can keep beers cold all day with that power bank. You can even make ice in it.
Wow.
And so and then we incorporated it into this tabletop that's got a solar panel on. So all of it's portable. The whole package is around $1,200. We're going to be making it available through crowdfunding in the spring.
Okay.
And, again, gone are the days of burning stuff to have a barbecue. We all know it's great to gather around food and get outdoors. Now you don't have to have smoke, and you can do it on renewable energy.
So your tabletop, you just fascinated me even more about this, right? So this tabletop's sitting there all the time,
right,
not being used 98% of the time, right?
That's
so
right.
now you're collecting energy while you're out enjoying camping or whatever.
There you go. So the idea
amazing.
was like, a lot of the other portable solar stuff is great, but it's you can't use the solar as a surface for anything.
Right.
So why carry around this big panel when you can't also use it? So we've doubled those functions.
Yeah, that's very clever, actually.
And, tables are always needed. Whenever you have one, it gets packed full of stuff.
Yep.
And so then you can put the cooking device on top of the table, or you can chop up the foods, and you can have the cooler underneath the table staying out of the sun.
Very nice. So where do we find out about all these amazing products?
Yeah, we have a great website at gosun.co.
Okay.
And we're doing a lot of work with Home Depot and Amazon, and we're getting into like REIs, and we're trying to be a mainstream brand for anybody in recreation and disaster relief.
Very nice.
So we're trying to expand into helping out people like the American Red Cross and the United Nations Foundation, to try to serve those that need these products when there's no power.
Okay. Thanks, Patrick. This is Marlo Anderson, your guru of geek at CES 2019. Mixing the perfect margarita. It's always a challenge, isn't it? But I think we have a solution for this. So tell us a little bit about your company.
Absolutely. So Bartesian is all about premium cocktails on demand. With the unit, you keep stocked with the spirits of your choice or the brands of your choice, vodka, rum, gin, tequila, whiskey. And there's also a water reservoir. And the water reservoir comes into play because our capsules contain all of the very real but concentrated ingredients. So you make your cocktail selection, insert it into Bartesian. As soon as you close the lid, the Bartesian identifies the drink, and the only thing you're doing work-wise is selecting the strength of the cocktail. So light, regular, strong, hit mix, takes about 15 seconds to dispense, self-cleans between drinks, and each spirit travels over its own tube to protect the integrity of the flavor.
Very interesting.
Absolutely.
So how many different cocktails right now do you have?
We're launching in March, and we're launching with 6 flavors.
Okay.
But we wholly realize that in order to keep this exciting and relevant, is going to be very aggressive on the drinks, both with classics and trending cocktails. So we will be at probably in the range of about 20 drinks by the end of this year.
So I'm assuming that this is something for the home.
Absolutely.
Right? But do you anticipate this going into bars and restaurants as well?
There's tremendous application outside of the home when you consider hotel lounges, airport lounges, stadium suites, family-oriented restaurants, absolutely, where perhaps right now they're only serving rum and wine, or beer and wine, rather, because they don't have a bartender on site.
Right.
So tremendous application there as well.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. So, and you said these are coming out in March?
Absolutely.
Where do we find more information about your product?
Bartesian.com.
Okay, very good. Great. And have you done, I should have asked this before, I guess, but Kickstarter or anything along those lines?
Yeah, we did Kickstarter a few years back. It was before my time.
Okay.
I do know that we were in the top 1% of the year that we did our campaign. It was quite a success.
Because your name was familiar to me. That's why, and I thought I'd seen it on Kickstarter.
Okay,
so
yeah. I posted a few updates on our campaign after I came on board, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good, very good. All right. This is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson at CES 2019. Challenges for tea lovers is the length of time a lot of times it takes to make tea. Well, I'm visiting with Bogdan here. He is with a company called Brew out of Switzerland. Of course, known for hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And maybe other chocolate things. But I think you might be known for tea in the future. So tell me a little bit about what you got going on here.
Yeah, thanks for having us here. At Brew, we are about to simplify the tea making process, but without changing it. So it's still a traditional tea making process. The tea steeps in the machine, but we totally automate it. And we remove all the hustle that you have if you make it in a manual way by using a kettle or something like that.
Right. Well, as we were watching you earlier, you were actually measuring tea and putting it into like a metal cup.
Exactly.
That went in. So talk about that process a little bit.
Yeah, so what you saw is basically a sieve. It's the sieve that holds the tea.
Okay.
So, and the machine takes care of all the other parameters, so the steeping time, the water amount, the water temperature, and it also adds consistency to the whole tea preparation process.
And I can use any kind of tea I want.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So we don't want to force the user to use only one specific tea as it's done with capsules.
Yep.
We just want to provide a tool that simplifies the process. So you can use any tea, loose leaf tea, tea in tea bags, you can use fresh herbs, just put it in the machine, press the button, and the perfect drink will be prepared.
Right. So while we were talking now, this was actually steeping tea, and here we go.
Now it's serving. That's the tea. And now also, if you want to add convenience into the tea preparation, you need to solve the cleaning problem.
Right.
And we solve that with some patented technology that we are using here. So patent granted, not just applied. Granted patent, very strong.
Yep.
And we made just a black tea. Now, if you want to make another tea, the only thing that you need to do is actually just open the lid and remove this brewing chamber.
Okay.
That's it. You don't need to clean the machine. Don't do anything. Just
change it out.
Change it out and make another cup of tea.
So is this available on the market already?
We did a pre-sold, like a crowdfunding pre-sale campaign.
Okay.
We plan to launch in a couple of months. We are right now in the certification stage. So in a couple of months, it will be available in the stores.
Congratulations on all that, by the way. So that's fantastic. So this is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson at CES 2022.
Here, news for the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time. There's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For Bismarck Mandan, Super Talk 1270. Talk of the Town, brought to you by Big Boy, just get in line, it moves fast. Dakota Pharmacy and Dakota Natural Health Center. We're here to help you stay well. Trademark Realty, Peak Automotive and Service, and Silver Ranch. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
I'm back. We missed you.
Oh my goodness. It's been I love how we attempted to do the show last week.
We ran into some technical issues because apparently the island you bought in the Caribbean didn't have good enough Wi-Fi service. So,
okay, so rumor is I did not buy an island.
Okay, just spell that rumor.
I was just sitting on the boat,
just a long-term lease. But
I truly felt like the internet connection was going to be strong enough so that you and I could do the show, and I was sadly mistaken about that.
With your friends at NASA, why do you just not go satellites straight to the satellite from now on?
All right, maybe I will. I did hear a rumor that, speaking of NASA, that their internet, and did you see this? The highest speed internet that like you and I get nowadays is like 1 to 2 gigabits per second, right? Theirs is rated at 93.
Wow. Okay, even better.
93.
When I walk out of my house, my Wi-Fi is gone. I get out of the garage and I have no Wi-Fi connection. So it's really hateful when I'm switching phone calls because I'm on the phone in the house and it makes a Wi-Fi call. Then I step out of the garage and drop call. It's like they don't get drop calls and they're in space.
It's amazing.
They have really good Wi-Fi.
They do. Really good Wi-Fi. So did you see the space launch that I put up on Facebook?
I did. That was so cool.
I shouldn't say space launch, but the rocket launch.
Yeah.
So SpaceX,
which was a few days after the, how did they term that? Unscheduled, rapid, disassembly.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
That's what they
Starship.
That's what happens when stuff blows up.
Yeah. So I was on the boat and I'm looking through a news feed and there's this pop up that came up on my phone and I'm like, there's no launch scheduled for tonight, but the Florida newspaper was putting 2 and 2 together that SpaceX had apparently filed some paperwork that is obviously available to the public. And in that paperwork, they wanted a launch window from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. tonight. Well, tonight.
And it was only supposed to be a 3-hour tour.
It's a 3-hour tour. That's right. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, really? And I go on the SpaceX's website. There's nothing about the launch on there at all. And I'm kind of excited. We are southeast of Cape Canaveral. And I'm like,
perfect place to be.
This is generally, if the weather is good, this is the direction that they're probably in. And because of the way the earth turns and all that stuff, that's generally how it's going to go, right? So I'm like, this is kind of exciting, but nobody knows, but it's not on SpaceX's website. There's nothing about this. And at 9:30, I'm on deck 11 of the boat and I'm looking out and there's a boat out there and I'm always curious about what's going on, and I take my phone and I zoom in on it. It's the SpaceX boat out,
the chase boat,
just out off of the boat I'm on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is
going to happen.
It's really going to happen, right? So I grab the rest of the family. I say, hey, I think there's a launch and I think it's going to come right at us tonight. So we, gather about 11:15. I'm on the back of, we're on the Disney Wish.
That would be called the Fantail, Marlo.
Yeah. And back there and a few other people. And then I would look on SpaceX and now they're announcing, they got the actual, launch going on or whatever. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I put it up there and a few people come walking by, but it's very, very quiet on the back of the boat. So there was probably about 15 of us and they were talking like
Fantail,
6 minutes left to go. And I don't know if it was a delay in the time it takes to get the signal out to where we were at or whatever. And we're like, and I have a compass. I'm literally out there trying to figure out where the launch is going to come from.
I bet somebody didn't have fluid in the lighter. They had to find a book of matches to get that.
And somebody goes, as I'm looking at this thing, trying to figure out, they're going, well, what about that big white light over there? And I looked, and I'm like, I guess that's where the launch is at, and it takes.
Marlo, come to the light.
Oh my goodness. And we're watching it, and the rocket is coming right at us. I mean, it's just cool. It was so cool. And as it got above us, you could start seeing the plume a little bit. And as it came over, the plume was just this huge, long, multicolored thing. You never see this on a launch because you're not out there. You're not underneath this thing as it's going horizontal in the sky, right? And it was just a couple degrees off of the moon. The moon was full that night. I thought for about a minute that thing is going to cross between the boat and the full moon, and I was going to get this image of the SpaceX.
Captain, can you move the boat a little bit?
It was absolutely incredible. Yeah, and then I had heard that they were going to use a parachute to bring the booster down, right? Because usually they land on the boat.
Well, that was my next question. Did the booster fall on you?
So I'm disappointed when I heard that, right? So it goes beyond us, and I stopped filming, and I put my camera or my phone in my back pocket, and all of a sudden the flare off of just like maybe 10 miles southeast of us, and I'm like, no, I'm fumbling for my phone again because I'm gonna miss this thing and
then drop it in the ocean over the rail.
And I didn't get my camera activated fast enough because by the time I was able to activate it, it was done. It just that quick, it's just done. It takes only 20 seconds, So, but yeah, it did actually land on the drone ship. Anyway,
wow.
So it was quite the sight. It really was.
That's cool.
I'm obviously still jazzed about
apparently.
Yeah, to me it was the best part of the vacation. Not that I didn't have a great time, but that was spectacular. Just spectacular.
Well, and it was a bonus because it wasn't something you were planning on. It just happened.
The seas are calm, so you see the reflection in the water. I mean, it was just like you couldn't have asked for a better night to have this go.
Oh, it was a great video.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see the booster.
I'm sorry. I really feel bad about it.
You should.
Yeah, you can catch it online somewhere.
But it won't be the same because it wasn't right over you.
Yeah.
I just had this interesting thought. So it was supposed to be a 3-hour tour, but do you ever think that Gilligan's Island, don't look at it as they got stranded on the island. They just got the bonus plan for the tour. They got their money's worth.
They certainly got
their money's worth.
Years and years worth. Those poor people.
Just like you got your money's worth on this cruise.
Yeah, I truly got my money's worth on the cruise. That I would have paid twice for. I mean, that was just a bonus thing for the cruise. It was spectacular. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just, it's unbelievable to see that, we as in man have, continued to develop this technology and there's actually beauty in it. I mean, that plume that was coming off the back of this rocket was just a sight to behold. It's hard to explain it because the camera that I filmed it with, on my phone doesn't give it justice. I mean, it was this long, long tail that for whatever reason, it was dark out, so I suppose the camera can't adjust to this fast moving object across the sky, but it was spectacular.
So where was that launch going?
So they were putting Starlink satellites up. I think 24 they were deploying or something like that. So I'm sure there was a few million people that were freaked out by this long streak of light going across the sky for a couple days. But
it's funny there aren't more boats out there.
I agree with that. This would be something I would pay for, actually. Absolutely. So we should start that. This would be another company you and I could start up.
Whole cottage industry.
Yep.
Super Talk 1270.
You're tuned to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270. I'm Steve Bakken, along with Marlo. Bye, Marlo. It's been fun. I know one segment, but we'll talk more about that space launch, too, coming up next week and this Saturday on the Tech Ranch. I want to say thank you to all of our listeners who made donations for the Operation Christmas Morning. Over 600 children in the Bismarck, Mandan, Lincoln area are going to have at least one present under their tree. Thanks to you. You did that. So a big thank you to our partners, Shields and Salvation Army as well. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.